Donald Trump's presidency was nothing if not tumultuous. His approach to trade policy was no different. Trump's aggressive use of tariffs, often deployed in a seemingly chaotic manner, left many observers wondering if there was a coherent strategy behind the bluster. Were these tariffs the actions of a reckless and uninformed leader, as his critics claimed? Or did they represent a calculated, if unorthodox, attempt to rewrite the rules of global trade in America's favor? Trump's tariff strategy was a sharp departure from the policies of his predecessors. For decades, the United States had championed free trade agreements and sought to reduce tariffs through international organizations like the World Trade Organization. Trump, however, viewed tariffs as a powerful weapon to protect American jobs and industries from what he saw as unfair foreign competition. The impact of Trump's tariffs was significant, both domestically and internationally. Businesses and consumers grappled with higher prices, while farmers faced retaliatory tariffs from trading partners. The tariffs also contributed to heightened tensions with allies and adversaries alike, reshaping the global trade landscape in profound ways. Understanding the motivations, tactics, and consequences of Trump's tariff strategy is crucial to comprehending the complex dynamics of international trade in the 21st century. In the following sections, we will delve deeper into the origins, implementation, and lasting impact of this controversial chapter in American trade policy. For much of the post-World War II era, the United States was a staunch advocate of free trade. This approach was rooted in the belief that reducing barriers to trade would lead to increased economic growth and prosperity for all nations involved. The creation of institutions like the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade and its successor, the World Trade Organization, reflected this commitment to a rules-based multilateral trading system. Successive U.S. administrations, both Republican and Democrat, generally adhered to this free trade orthodoxy. They pursued trade liberalization through bilateral and multilateral agreements, seeking to lower tariffs and reduce other obstacles to the flow of goods and services across borders. This approach was seen as a key driver of globalization, fostering economic interdependence and, it was hoped, greater cooperation among nations. However, by the early 21st century, the free trade consensus began to fray. Concerns grew about the impact of globalization on American jobs and wages, as manufacturing jobs shifted to countries with lower labor costs. The rise of China as an economic powerhouse, often accused of unfair trade practices, further fueled anxieties about the downsides of globalization. This growing unease with the perceived costs of free trade created an opening for a different approach, one that prioritized national interest and viewed trade more as a zero-sum game. It was into this environment of skepticism towards globalization that Donald Trump's protectionist message resonated with voters who felt left behind by the global economy. Donald Trump's arrival in Washington, D.C. marked a dramatic shift in U.S. trade policy. A businessman with no prior experience in government, Trump campaigned on a promise to make America great again by bringing back manufacturing jobs and reducing the trade deficit. Central to his plan was a willingness to use tariffs, a tool long disfavored by the Washington establishment. Trump's view of trade was transactional and zero-sum. He saw tariffs not just as a way to protect domestic industries but also as a cudgel to extract concessions from trading partners. He frequently railed against what he considered unfair trade practices by China and other countries, accusing them of stealing American jobs and intellectual property. Discarding decades of precedent, Trump imposed tariffs on a wide range of goods from allies and adversaries alike. Steel and aluminum imports from Canada, Mexico, and the European Union were hit with tariffs, ostensibly on national security grounds. Washing machines, solar panels, and other products from China were also targeted. These actions sent shockwaves through the global trading system. Allies were angered by the tariffs, which they viewed as unjustified and harmful to their own economies. The World Trade Organization was sidelined, with Trump threatening to withdraw the United States from the organization altogether. The world was entering uncharted territory, with the future of the rules-based trading order in doubt. Underlying Trump's aggressive use of tariffs was a belief that they could be leveraged to extract concessions from trading partners. He viewed trade negotiations as a zero-sum game, where one side's gain necessarily came at the expense of the other. In Trump's view, the United States had been taken advantage of in trade deals for too long, and tariffs were the way to right the wrongs. This approach was evident in Trump's dealings with China. The Trump administration imposed tariffs on hundreds of billions of dollars worth of Chinese goods, ranging from electronics to clothing. The goal, according to the administration, was to force China to address long-standing concerns about forced technology transfer, intellectual property theft, and its massive trade surplus with the United States. Whether Trump's tariff strategy was successful in achieving its objectives is a matter of debate. On the one hand, the tariffs did force China to the negotiating table and resulted in the signing of the Phase 1 trade deal in January 2020, which included commitments from China to increase purchases of American goods and address some structural issues. However, the tariffs also had significant costs. American businesses and consumers faced higher prices due to the tariffs, which acted as a tax on imported goods. Farmers in particular were hurt by retaliatory tariffs imposed by China on agricultural products. The tariffs also disrupted global supply chains, as businesses sought to adjust to the new trade environment. China's been a focal point in Trump's trade war strategy. The administration imposed tariffs on hundreds of billions of dollars worth of Chinese goods. The goal? To pressure China into fairer trade practices and to address issues like intellectual property theft and forced technology transfers. It's been a contentious and complex battle affecting global markets and economies. Trump's tariffs have certainly caused some short-term pain for American businesses and consumers, with higher costs and disrupted supply chains. However, the administration argues that these sacrifices are necessary for long-term gain. The aim is to create a more level playing field for American industries and to protect national security interests. It's a delicate balancing act with significant stakes for the future. The trade war has also sparked questions about a new world order. Traditional alliances have been tested, and global trade dynamics are shifting. Some argue that Trump's policies have led to increased protectionism and uncertainty, while others believe they are a necessary step towards a fairer global trade system. The long-term effects of these policies are still unfolding, and the world is watching closely. As we look to the future, the enduring legacy of Trump's trade policy remains a topic of debate. Will these tariffs lead to lasting change and stronger American industries, or will they create lasting economic challenges? One thing is certain, Trump's approach to trade has left an indelible mark on the global economic landscape, and its impacts will be felt for years to come.